Well, hello there, my name is Vladimir, welcome to my studio. Today we're checking out the Boss Katana 50, and by checking out I actually mean we are going to go in depth with this. We'll check out the sounds, the features, the USB and line outs, we'll check the software you can use with this, pretty much everything that this amp does. But first let's start with the basic. It's an open back combo, hosts a single 12-inch speaker in it. It feels really sturdy, weighs 11.6 kilos according to the Thomann website at least. And yeah, it just feels like it's going to be roadworthy. Everything is well made, the handles, the knobs, everything. It has this cool little kickstand that will help you angle the amp towards your ear instead of your feet. It's a small but really nice touch. On the back side, besides the, well, obvious power in, it has the aux in, it has the phone/recording out, there's a USB connection, and you can also connect a foot switch or an expression pedal to this amp. On the top side, next to the input jack, you'll find 5 different amplifiers. Basically, one is actually meant for an acoustic guitar, then there's clean, crunch, lead, and brown. I think it's kind of obvious that those are kind of different gain stages, if you will. Then there's gain and volume and 3-band EQ, which are kind of obvious. Then there's 3 cool knobs that allow you to do different things. These first 2, if you turn them between like 0 and let's call this 50, you are adjusting the booster side of things, and on this side you are adjusting the modulation. On the second knob, it's again the same. The first kind of from 0 to 50 it's delay, and on the other side it's some other effects, tremolos and stuff like that. There's actually crazy amount of effects available and different boosts and everything in this amp if you plug it into your computer, and we'll take a look at that later. And something that I didn't mention, with all of these 3 kind of effects blocks, you can actually change a bunch of them by hitting the button over here, and there's also a tap tempo for the delay, which is really cool on the amp of this price range. Then there's the master volume, power control. You can actually have this amp on standby so it doesn't make any sound, and you can use that also while recording or using the USB out. 0.5 watts, 25 watts, 50 watts. And yeah, it's definitely loud. I mentioned this in my unboxing video as well. It's just, I wouldn't have any doubts whether this could hold up with a band. It's just really, really loud. The amp also allows you to store presets, which you can then recall either using these buttons over here, or you can actually use a foot switch and recall those presets. And on these presets you can kind of save the amp type, all of the settings, but also the effects. So for an amp that's way under 300 euros, actually this thing is just feature packed. So let's start unpacking those features, I guess. Alright, let's get into the sounds. I'm miking the amp with the Shure SM7B, and we'll start with my telly. Unfortunately, my Strat that I got from Thomann recently hasn't arrived just yet, so we'll have to stick with the Strat and the humbucker semi-hollow thing. So yeah, let's get started with the Strat, clean channel, and actually let's start with the reverb, because I want to have a little bit of reverb on everything. Here's just the clean sound. So to engage the reverb, just turn the knob on, and you can see that the light's on. You can actually click this button and cycle through 3 different types of reverb, and you can change what those reverb types are if you plug this thing into the computer and use the app over there. So without the reverb first. Let's quickly check the EQ. Then we'll go to the crunch. Lead. And brown. I'm back on the crunch mode, and let's check out the booster / mod control first. As you can see, the booster like really kicks in. Let's actually go to the green one. Maybe that's like a lighter boost. So really effective boosting capabilities. We go to mod. It suddenly becomes quiet again. Because we are on some modulation, but I don't know. Octaves. And what's the next one? So you can immediately tell that this is a super versatile amp. Again, you can program what 3 modulation effects you can cycle through, basically. So that's really cool. Let's go to the delay section of things and see what we find here. Yeah, I love that you can tap in the tempo. And again, you can cycle through the delays. Sounds like analog delay to me. Reverse maybe? So again, you can program 3 of these in the app, what they would be. Also have a preset with the effects. Let's move to the effects side by just rotating the knob. Tremolo. Auto. And the third one is octaves. I'm actually really impressed with the tracking on this. Just works really well. And I mean, again, you can program what effects you want to have there. Really cool. So as I mentioned, if I actually want to save these settings, let's go for whatever crazy sound we can come up with, and I'll show you. So if I want to save this sound on the channel 2, I simply hold the channel 2, and you can see the button next to it blinking. And now if I go to channel 1, and back to the channel 2, simple as that. And again, if you have a foot switch, you can actually kind of expand its capabilities even more. So that's just really easy, convenient. You can save a couple of sounds, and the panel setting basically goes to whatever's happening here. So you can have like kind of up to 3 sounds on this actually. Alright, let's check out some humbucker sounds, starting with the clean channel again. As you can tell, the amp goes into heavier territory as well, and I love the built-in boost function because it just allows you to throw in kind of a boost pedal or kind of TS type pedal in front of the actual amp gain stage. and give you much tighter, much more focused sound that you need for metal, for example. And actually the rhythm guitar tracks in the song in the beginning were recorded using the telly, and I was using the crunch mode, and then I would throw in a ton of TS9 type pedal in front just to tighten everything up, giving it a little bit of mid-range and just clarity. And it worked really well, giving you this kind of feel of putting a pedal in front of the amp. And speaking of that, let's try out this thing with some pedals. Alright, I have assembled a small pedal board here, or pedal board, I don't know. Basically we have a boost, an overdrive, a heavy distortion and a delay pedal. We are on the clean channel. I went back to my telly, sounds like this. And with the boost, all of the controls at 12. Sounds really good. Let's try out the dirt setting. So yeah, boost definitely works really well. Cal and Pure Sky Overdrive, let's put the controls at 12 here as well, like this. I haven't actually tried this amp with any of the pedals yet. That sounds really good. It works really well with both of these pedals, at least. These ones, I mean. So yeah, let's crank the gain even more. And then we'll go for the Rev G4, which is a really high gain pedal. Put the EQ like that. No aggression mode. Everything at 12 just for the sake of it. It works really well, actually. This is actually my initial reaction. Haven't tried it with pedals yet. Sounds really good. Delay, just some presets on the Boss DD500. Something weird. Add some overdrive. Alright, that's really cool. It doesn't have an effects loop, but it still works really well with the clean channel. That was my baby, by the way. And let's actually try something which is boosting the drive channel. Let's back this down. The Katana Pioska is probably my favorite boost for the amp. So without. It just works. I don't know what else to say, to be honest. Alright, let's check out the acoustic side of things, or the acoustic amp. I'm going from my Taylor 110E straight into the amp, and you can see the settings. I'm using a little bit of reverb, and I'm intentionally turning away so the acoustic sound of this guitar doesn't bleed into the microphone as much. Sounds like this. Alright, let's move on to kind of back panel things. As you can see on the kind of control panel cam, there's a bunch of stuff plugged in here. First of all, I have hooked up an expression pedal. This is Boss EV30. And in order to use this with the Katana 50, you need to have a TSR cable, which means it's a stereo cable, not your regular instrument cable. And that's where I run into trouble because I only have a short one, so I'll have to use it here. Right now, by default, it functions as a volume pedal. And by the way, we are not hearing the microphone here anymore. We are actually going from the line out of the amp into my audio interface, and from there to Logic. Sounds like this. And by default, this functions as a volume pedal. And I have also assigned it that if we go to a wah by rotating the knob here, yeah, so that's one way to use the expression pedal with this. Again, use a TSI cable, otherwise it won't work. But yeah, again, you can see how incredibly versatile this amp can be with a couple of extra pedals and such. I'm not going to show you the aux in over here just because it's self-explanatory. Just get your phone and use a cable from your phone into the aux input, and you can play your backing tracks through that. Really simple. I think you get the idea right away. As I mentioned at the beginning, the amp also has a USB port in it over here, and there's many things you can do with it. First of all, it allows you to update the amp, and based on what I know on the amp's history, some of the updates are actually pretty major. New sounds, new effects, stuff like that. The other things that USB allows you to do, and something I mentioned already, you can use the Tone Studio app that you can download for free, and on that app you can adjust all of the settings of the amp. You can assign different effects to different buttons and such. You can decide what your expression pedal would do, and it actually allows you to have more options that you see here on the control panel of the amp itself. For example, on the Tone Studio app, this amp also has a presence control, something that is there on the bigger versions of the Katana 100 and the Artist and the Head. But on the smaller one, you don't have the presence knob over here, but in the Tone Studio app you have it, and you can program all of that into a preset as well. So that's really cool. The third, and maybe the coolest thing that it allows you to do, is to use the Katana as an audio interface, meaning you don't need to have a separate audio interface to record with this. When I plugged this in, Logic immediately asked, hey, we found a new audio interface, should we use it? And when I clicked yes, I was basically ready to record right away. So it works well. Just as a concept, I think it's absolutely amazing to think that you get an amp with built-in effects, good sounding effects, and it can also function as a USB interface. It's just ridiculously good. The last thing we're going to check out is the Boss Tone Studio for Katana, and I'm going to keep this as a brief overview because it allows you to do so much that it's just easy to get lost in all of it, and this video would be 7,000 minutes long. That's exactly the estimate how long it will be. Good jokes. Basically, first of all, you can adjust all of the same things as on the amp, and these things will change immediately on the amp as well. Let's demonstrate on lead. And as you could see, when I turn off the booster section, this is where it changes. As we looked at the amp control panel, this thing has 3 stages, like that, like that, and like that. And you can scroll through all of them 3, and you can decide what's here. For example, here's a bunch of different boosters, overdrives, distortion plus, fat distortion, rap, metal zone, and all kinds of stuff you can have here. And you can program all of these into the channels over here. And actually Katana 50 can store kind of 4 different channels. There's channels A1 and channel A2 and B1 and B2, and on all of those you can store 3 boosters, 3 modulation things, 3 delays, 3 additional effects. For example, you could hear the slice effect in the song in the beginning, and for the reverb you can make it like a reverb plus built-in delay and modulate, and it's just so many options. You can see the signal chains over here. You can, for example, adjust if the booster is in front of the amplifier section or behind it, stuff like that per preset. Then you can go to the booster section, you can select the booster you want and you can fine-tune it. Same goes for the modulation, so many different effects you can see here and kind of sub options for them as well. Same goes for the delay. Let's take like a digital delay, for example, and yeah, many different settings, high cuts, all kinds of stuff like that for the effects as well. And there's just so many effects available. Secondary delay that's used with the reverb, modulate, reverb, all kinds of stuff. You can get an idea of how incredibly versatile this thing is. And again, all of this can be programmed into presets that you can then record with a foot switch. There's also a noise gate that you cannot access from the amp itself, but from the Tone Studio you can, which is really cool. If this amp would have an effects loop, this is where you could control it. Actually, I think you can like create a virtual effects loop, which will then work if you go to the signal chain. Yeah, I think so, maybe. Not 100% sure. Well, yeah, it kind of works because like the preamp section, then the delays and reverbs are kind of in the effects loop, and then they go to the speaker. So yeah, and here you can assign all the foot switches and expression pedals and things like that. Just incredibly versatile here. And it doesn't even end there. In the system settings, you can change few of the kind of sound settings for the line out. I think I might be able to demonstrate how they sound. Because we're recording, I prefer the rec. And there's 3 different cabinet resonances as well. Deep, just basically changes the low end a little bit. You can have a global EQ, some USB send, return settings, MIDI settings, and well, language manual. You can control multiple devices. You can check the version of the amp. And one more thing that I didn't mention is the Tone Central, where other people can basically create sounds and you can download them from here. For example, good friend of mine, Andy the Guitar Geek, he's been doing a lot of Katana presets that you can download. As I mentioned, I'm not going to go in depth with the Tone Studio. It's just way too much to handle, so many things here, and it would triple the length of the video, and I think already it's going to be pretty long, so we'll stop here. Alright, that concludes my Boss Katana 50 demo review, whatever you want to call this video. Honestly, I think it's insane how much you're getting for the money. It's built really well. It's definitely meant for gigging. Loudness wise, the durability or kind of build quality wise, it will take a beating and will still function just fine. Not only you're getting a bunch of sounds, you're also getting programmability. I think that's a word. You just need to get like a separate foot switch to control all of that. And not only that, but you're also getting kind of a really cool guitar recording setup. You don't even need to own an audio interface to get recording with this. And I think the learning curve on all of that is relatively small, so I think even if you are pretty new at the guitar, you should be able to handle all of this. I mean, the Tone Studio can go super in depth, but you don't have to do that. You can just plug this in via USB to your computer and adjust all of the settings on the amp itself to keep it simple enough for you and just start having fun recording your own tracks. I think that's brilliant. I kind of wish something like this existed when I started playing guitar like 15 something years ago, but I can enjoy it now. One of the things that also impressed me a lot was how this amp handled pedals. As I mentioned in my unboxing video, I wanted to get the Katana series amp just to have something kind of budget friendly, and I could put the pedals through this as well, because yeah, I do have the Rev Dynamis, but not everyone's going to get that, and it's pretty expensive and maybe out of reach for many of you. So I wanted to get something that I could also demonstrate pedals through, and I was genuinely surprised how well it worked. So well done, boss. This is just a really impressive little thing. And I think I might be doing some small gigs with this as well at some point, just because it's so versatile and so practical compared to taking a head and a cab and maybe a torpedo live, something like that. I might get like a foot switch for this as well at some point, just to have a few presets. We'll see, not sure yet, but I'm super excited to have it here. And I think it's time to wrap up this video. It's probably pretty long, don't know yet, haven't edited it yet, but I'm guessing it's not a short one. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, or ask any questions you might have. And if you want to support what I do, get yourself a Catpic Studios t-shirt, links below to my Teespring store in the description. If you want to know more about this product, links below in the description as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell as well, so you won't miss any of my videos when they come out. Thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, please type Fat Cat in the comment section down below so I can give you a thumbs up and a heart and just say thank you for actually making it through the video. Again, thanks for watching. I shall see you next time.